You invest in someone, give them opportunities you fought for, share knowledge you earned the hard way, and then they turn that investment into a weapon against you. Why does this keep happening? Why does our loyalty so often get weaponized? Is it naivety, bad judgment, or is it something more fundamental about how power actually works? Today, we're not discussing theory. We're breaking down a real case. A senior manager who mentored the wrong person. Not wrong because they were incompetent. Wrong because they were competent and calculating. This is the story of a helping hand getting bitten hard. We're looking at this through power dynamics. Who understood the game? Who didn't, and what it cost the person who thought they were building a legacy instead of arming their replacement. Let's get into it. Mark was 45, senior manager at a competitive consulting firm. 15 years building his reputation. When a position opened on his team, he didn't go through HR's standard pool. He reached out directly to Kevin, 32, hungry, someone Mark had met at an industry conference. Kevin had potential. Mark saw himself 15 years earlier. So Mark went to bat, convinced leadership to bring Kevin in. Then he did what good mentors do. Shared his client database, walked Kevin through his pitching strategies, introduced him to key accounts. The kind of access that takes years to build. Mark was handing it over in months. His colleagues warned him, "You're giving away too much." Mark dismissed it. Kevin was grateful, said all the right things, called Mark his career lifeline. Notice the setup. Mark is operating from legacy thinking. He wants to build something beyond himself. But Kevin is operating from leverage thinking. He's not taking notes to learn. He's taking inventory. 6 months in, Kevin had adapted. Fast. Too fast. They're in a strategy meeting. The conference room, fluorescent lights humming. Projector too bright. Mark suggests an approach for a difficult client. Something that's worked for him for years. Kevin leans back.
"No offense, Mark, but that's pretty old school."
Clients want disruption now, not safe plays. The room goes quiet. Mark feels his pen click. Once, twice. He catches himself. He doesn't push back. Kevin's new, confident. Maybe Mark is being too cautious. Maybe this is just generational difference. 2 weeks later, another meeting. Kevin's presenting Mark's modified strategy, except he's positioned it as his own innovation. Mark's name isn't mentioned. Not once. Stop. Right here. This is a power play. It's not disagreement, it's public depositioning. Kevin is using Mark's transparency against him. He's signaling to everyone watching that the hierarchy is shifting. And Mark? He's still thinking they're on the same team. Here's a rule: when someone publicly contradicts you without offering to discuss it privately first, they're not trying to improve the idea. They're trying to replace you. It escalated. Kevin started making comments, small ones.
"Mark's great, but he's kind of stuck in his comfort zone. Or just trying to be transparent. I think Mark's resistant to change."
The phrasing is perfect. Just trying to be transparent. It sounds reasonable, honest, but it's poison. Other team members started coming to Kevin first. Leadership started asking Kevin to lead presentations. Mark found himself CC'd on emails instead of leading them. Kevin was in the client meetings Mark had set up. Using the relationships Mark had built, Mark tried to address it, pulled Kevin aside. "I feel like we're not aligned anymore." Kevin's response: "I'm just trying to help the team evolve." Mark: "I thought that's what you wanted when you brought me in." Gaslighting. Dressed up as good intentions. Gaslighting is when someone makes you question your own judgment so often that you start trusting their version of reality more than your own. This is the covert narcissist at work. Covert narcissism is the version that hides behind humility and reason while quietly rewriting the story so they always come out on top. Kevin isn't screaming or throwing tantrums. He's creating a narrative where he's the reasonable one, the forward-thinking one. And Mark the mentor is now the obstacle, the resistant one holding the team back. Mark started clicking that pan constantly. Meetings felt like ambushes. He'd suggest something, Kevin would subtly undermine it, frame it as outdated. Then Kevin made his final move. Went to leadership with a concern. Said Mark was struggling with new methodologies. Suggested gently that maybe Mark would be happier in a role with less pressure. Mark heard about it from a peer, not from Kevin. Not from leadership. That's when it clicked. This wasn't about methodology. This wasn't generational difference. This was systematic dismantling. Kevin hadn't been learning from Mark. He'd been learning how to replace Mark. And there it is. The trap reveals itself. The moment Mark assumed they shared the same rules, he handed Kevin every tool he needed. Mark made a decision. Started reaching out to his network. Found a better position at a competitor. Better title. Better pay. And he didn't tell Kevin. His last week. They're in the break room. Kevin's making coffee, casual as ever.
Hey Mark, got a second? Want to pick your brain about the Henderson account.
Mark looks at him. That projector light brightness, that suffocating air. The pen clicks one last time. Kevin, I'm leaving, and I want you to know you're the reason. Kevin's face goes blank. What? You destroyed what I built here. Not through competence, you're competent. Through calculation. You took my trust and turned it into a weapon. I brought you in to build something. You came in to take something. Those aren't the same. Mark walked out. Kevin tried following.
Mark, let's talk about this.
There's nothing to talk about, you won. Mark's story isn't about one toxic coworker. It's what happens when your generosity is aimed at the wrong person. He thought mentorship meant shared values. Kevin understood mentorship meant transferred power. And power doesn't care about intentions. Let's name what happened. Kevin exhibited textbook covert narcissism, the kind that doesn't scream. It whispers. It positions itself as reasonable while systematically destabilizing someone's position. It uses phrases like no offense and just being transparent to package aggression as honesty. The target ends up doubting themselves while the narcissist quietly builds a story that makes them look like the reasonable one. But here's the deeper pattern. Nietzsche wrote about master and slave morality. In Nietzsche's terms, slave morality calls good whatever is kind and obedient, while master morality calls good whatever is strong enough to win. Mark was operating under cooperative values: loyalty, legacy, mutual growth. Those are beautiful values. They're also exploitable. Kevin was operating under competitive values: power, positioning, zero-sum thinking. In a workplace that rewards outcomes over ethics, which morality wins? Mark found out. They didn't weaponize Mark's loyalty by accident. They weaponized it because he left it undefended. He assumed it would be reciprocated, not exploited. Here's what you need to understand. Checking who someone really is isn't a one-time event. Initial gratitude and humility are easy to perform when someone still needs you. The real test is what they do once they don't need you anymore. Do they act like a partner, or do they erase the person who got them in? If you're in any position of power at work, watch for the shift once someone no longer needs you. Their behavior tells you more than their gratitude ever did. The moment they stop asking and start correcting. The moment they stop crediting and start claiming. That's not growth. That's repositioning. And never mistake your role for your relationship. Mark was Kevin's mentor. He thought that made them allies, but a workplace isn't a family. It's a competition with collaborative moments. Kevin understood that. Mark learned it. Final thing. Mark's last move, walking out and naming it directly, that wasn't anger. That was clarity. Kevin spent months making Mark doubt himself. That final statement took the power back, not through revenge, through truth. You can't win against someone who's playing a different game, but you can stop playing. You can walk away, and you can be very clear, at least to yourself, about why you did. The real choice isn't between being a good mentor or a bad one. It's between investing in people who build with you, and feeding people who are quietly stockpiling leverage. Mark handed Kevin the keys. Kevin locked him out. That's not mentorship failing. That's power dynamics working exactly as they always do. The question is, will you see it coming next time?